I adjusted my microscope in the dimly lit university lab, reviewing the results that would soon shake the scientific world. 3 years of being dismissed as a failed researcher, while I quietly revolutionized quantum biology. Dr. Sarah Chen? My research assistant Tom appeared with coffee. Your mother's calling again. About the family party tonight. I glanced at my laptop screen showing the confidential email from the Nobel Committee. If only they knew. Did she mention if Marie's coming? I asked, referring to my older sister, the successful scientist, with her prestigious hospital position. Yes. Apparently, she has big news about her latest research grant. Of course she did. Marie never missed a chance to showcase her conventional achievements at family gatherings. The party was at my parents' house, a gathering where Mom could simultaneously display her daughters and critique their life choices. I arrived late, still wearing my lab coat over jeans. Sarah, darling, Mom sighed, couldn't you change? Your sister just received $1 million grant. Marie stood holding court in designer clothes, surrounded by admiring relatives. It's fine, Mom. Not everyone can handle high-profile research. If they only knew about the email sitting in my inbox, news that would make Marie's grant look like pocket change. How's the university work? Dad asked between conversations with Marie's colleagues. Progressive, I said simply. She's still doing basic lab work, Marie informed them, while I'm leading clinical trials at Memorial Hospital. Mom patted my hand. Honey, maybe it's time to consider a more prominent position. Something more suitable. My phone buzzed, a message from the journal Nature. Breakthrough paper fast-tracked for publication. Revolutionary findings confirmed. Actually, I said, pulling out my tablet, I wanted to discuss something about my research. We've been over this, Dad sighed. The funding requirements won't be an issue after tomorrow. I opened my email. When they announced the Nobel Prize in Medicine. The room fell silent. Marie's wine glass stopped halfway to her lips. What are you talking about? I turned my tablet to show them the email from Stockholm. The official Nobel Committee letterhead gleamed on the screen. That's impossible, Dad stammered. The nominations were completed 6 months ago, I finished. My quantum biology research redefining cellular regeneration caught their attention. Along with every major research institution in the world. Mom's perfect hostess smile froze. Your lab work. Not just lab work. I opened the supporting documents. I've discovered how to manipulate quantum states in living cells. It's going to revolutionize medicine, aging research, and cellular biology. But you're working in a university lab, Marie protested. With basic equipment. That's what you saw. I pulled up photos of my real laboratory. The public lab is just the surface. Underground, I've built one of the most advanced quantum biology facilities in the world. The party guests gathered around my tablet, watching as I scrolled through images of cutting-edge equipment and breakthrough results. Those cellular regeneration trials you're so proud of? I looked at Marie. My discovery makes them obsolete. Complete tissue regeneration at the quantum level. Dad's glass of scotch trembled slightly. The funding, how did you Private investors, I said. Who understood that real breakthroughs don't always come from prestigious institutions. The patents alone are valued at $3 billion. $3 billion. Marie's voice cracked. The pharmaceutical companies are already bidding. I pulled up the confidential offers. Every major healthcare corporation wants exclusive rights. But I'm keeping control of the research. But your work, it's so basic, Mom protested weakly. Basic. I laughed softly. Let me show you what basic looks like. I projected my research data onto the living room wall using my tablet. Complex quantum equations and cellular imaging filled the space. This, I pointed to a particular sequence, is how we manipulate quantum states in living tissue. Something your top researchers said was impossible, Marie. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Years of their dismissive comments about my modest research echoed in the quiet. Tomorrow morning, I continued, Nature is publishing my paper. Simultaneously, the Nobel Committee will announce this year's prize in medicine. And those pharmaceutical bids. I smiled. They go public. Why didn't you tell us? Dad asked, his voice small. Would you have understood? I turned to face them. 3 years ago I tried to explain my quantum biology theory. Marie called it science fiction. Mom suggested I focus on practical research. You all laughed at my waste of time in a basic university lab. My phone buzzed again. The Nobel Committee confirming tomorrow's press conference arrangements. The university's holding a press conference at 10 a.m., I said, gathering my things. After Stockholm's announcement. I suggest you watch it. Sarah, wait, Marie called out. Maybe we could collaborate. Collaborate. I turned back. Your entire research approach is outdated. While you were chasing grants and headlines, I was rewriting the fundamentals of cellular biology. Mom stepped forward, her social poise cracking. But darling, your career, your future, is exactly what I planned. I showed them one final document, the founding papers for my new research institute. The Chen Quantum Biology Institute. Funded by the patent revenues and staffed by scientists who understand that real breakthroughs don't come from following the crowd. As I reached the door, Dad called out, "We're your family." I paused. "Yes, you are. And tomorrow, you'll be watching like everyone else as your failed scientist daughter receives the Nobel Prize." The night air felt cool as I walked to my car. Tom waited inside with updated research data and tomorrow's presentation materials. "How did they take it?" he asked. I looked back at the house where my family stood frozen, their worlds upended by the daughter they'd underestimated. "They're about to learn," I said, opening my laptop to review the Nobel lecture draft, "that sometimes the smallest lab can change the world." The university auditorium buzzed with anticipation. News cameras lined the back wall, satellite trucks filled the parking lot, and every major scientific journal had sent representatives. In the front row, my family sat uncomfortably, their presence requested by the Nobel Committee for the historic announcement. "Dr. Chen." Tom approached with my presentation materials. "Stockholm is live in 5 minutes. And the pharmaceutical offers have topped 5 billion. I nodded, watching the live feed from Sweden on my tablet. The Nobel Committee members were taking their seats, preparing to announce what they called the most significant breakthrough in medical science this century. Marie shifted in her designer suit, clutching a copy of Nature that featured my research on the cover. The same journal that had rejected her last 3 papers. "I still don't understand," she whispered. "Your quantum manipulation method transcends everything you thought you knew about cellular biology," I finished. "That's why you didn't see it coming." The university president approached the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin. Please welcome Dr. Sarah Chen, whose groundbreaking work in quantum biology has The screens behind him lit up with the Nobel Committee's live feed. The Nobel Prize in Medicine for this year is awarded to Dr. Sarah Chen for her revolutionary discovery of quantum cellular manipulation, enabling unprecedented tissue regeneration and biological control at the quantum level. Camera flashes exploded as I walked to the podium. Mom's perfect makeup couldn't hide her shock. Dad's hands trembled on his armrests. 3 years ago, I proposed that cellular behavior could be controlled through quantum state manipulation. The scientific community called it impossible. My own sister, I glanced at Marie, suggested I focus on real research. The screens filled with my data, complex quantum equations and cellular imaging that made traditional research look primitive. "What you're seeing isn't just a new technique," I continued. "It's a fundamental reimagining of how life works at its most basic level. We can now control cellular function with quantum precision, enabling repairs and regeneration that were previously thought impossible." I pulled up video of our latest trials. Complete organ regeneration. Neural pathway restoration. Cellular aging reversed. All through quantum manipulation of living tissue. The audience gasped as the results played out. Marie's $1 million grant research looked like a high school science project in comparison. "The applications are limitless," I continued. "Every field of medicine will be transformed. Every disease we thought incurable becomes manageable. Every limitation we accepted becomes optional." "But the testing," Marie interrupted. "The clinical trials are already completed," I replied. "While you were publishing papers on conventional treatments, I was quietly conducting the most advanced biological research in history. I revealed our underground facilities' full scope, dozens of labs, hundreds of researchers, Years of successful trials. The patents alone, I noted, are worth more than every grant your hospital has received in the past decade, Marie. But this isn't about money. It's about changing what's possible. Mom stood up shakily. Sarah, why didn't you tell us? We could have dash. Could have what? I asked quietly. Dismissed it again? Suggested more suitable research? Told me to follow Marie's safe, predictable path. The screens showed more breakthrough data. Discoveries that would rewrite medical textbooks and reshape human potential. The Chen Quantum Biology Institute opens next month, I announced. Funded by patent revenues and staffed by scientists who understand that real breakthroughs require breaking from convention. The morning sun streamed through the quantum-filtered windows of my new office at the Chen Institute. 3 months after the Nobel announcement, the scientific world was still reeling from the implications of my discovery. Every major medical journal had dedicated special issues to quantum biology, and our waiting list for research positions stretched years into the future. Dr. Chen. Tom entered with the morning briefings. The WHO delegation is here for the Global Health Initiative. And, your family's waiting in the conference room. I turned from the observation window overlooking our quantum labs. All of them. Your parents, Marie, and representatives from her hospital. They've reviewed the preliminary trial results. Of course they had. 3 months of watching traditional medicine become obsolete had been a harsh education. Send in my team first, I decided. Let them see what real research looks like. Dr. Zhang, my quantum physics director, led the procession of scientists, brilliant minds we'd recruited from around the world, many overlooked by prestigious institutions because their ideas were too unconventional. The neural regeneration trials have exceeded all projections, she reported, pulling up the latest data. Complete spinal cord restoration in 94% of cases. Marie's hospital has requested access to the protocols. Denied, I said firmly. They're not equipped for quantum-level work. And their understanding of the principles is inadequate. The doors opened. My family entered, looking distinctly uncomfortable in our ultra-modern facility. Marie's hospital credentials seemed almost quaint among our quantum researchers. Sarah, Dad began cautiously, these results, they're unprecedented. No, I corrected, they're what happens when you think beyond conventional limitations. I turned to the wall of screens displaying real-time quantum cellular manipulation. 3 months. That's how long it took to make traditional medicine obsolete. But our research Marie started. Is irrelevant, I interrupted, pulling up comparative data. Your best cellular regeneration trials show 15% success rates. We're achieving complete restoration at the quantum level. Your understanding of biology is like studying space with a magnifying glass. Mom stood, her social confidence shattered. Darling, surely we can collaborate. Collaborate. I laughed softly. You still don't understand. We're not just advancing medicine, we're redefining what life is. I revealed our latest breakthrough, quantum consciousness mapping. Impossible, Marie whispered. That word, I noted, is why you'll never work here. While you were defending old theories, we mapped the quantum structure of consciousness itself. Human awareness exists at the quantum level, manipulable, transferable, expandable. The screens filled with data that looked like science fiction. Consciousness transfer between organic substrates, quantum memory enhancement, direct neural interfaces with quantum computers. Your entire medical paradigm, I continued, is based on classical physics. We're operating at a level you can't even measure, let alone understand. Dad stepped forward. The Nobel Prize, we thought was just the beginning? I smiled. It was. The quantum biology revolution is reshaping every field, medicine, genetics, neuroscience, even our understanding of death itself. My phone buzzed. Another breakthrough in the consciousness lab. We'd successfully transferred complex memories between quantum substrates. The WHO is implementing our protocols globally, I announced. Every major research institution is restructuring around quantum biology. Except, I looked at Marie, those two invested in outdated methods to adapt. My position at the hospital she began, is becoming irrelevant, I finished. Your entire department does less in a year than one of our quantum labs achieves in a day. Mom sank into a chair. But your sister's reputation, her career, will be footnotes in medical history, I said quietly, along with everyone else who dismissed quantum biology as impossible. I walked to the quantum observation window, watching researchers manipulate cellular structures at the quantum level. This institute isn't just advancing science, it's rendering the old ways obsolete. The daughter you called a failed scientist is rewriting the future of human existence. And us? Marie asked, her voice small. You can observe, I replied. From a distance. Like everyone else who lacked the vision to see beyond convention. The screens behind me filled with more breakthroughs. Aging reversed at the quantum level, consciousness expanded beyond biological limits, death itself becoming optional through quantum transfer. The future doesn't wait for approval, I said as they prepared to leave. It doesn't care about prestigious positions or traditional thinking. It belongs to those who dare to imagine the impossible. As they filed out, I turned back to the quantum labs where my teams were reshaping reality itself. Tom approached with updates on our latest consciousness trials. They still don't understand, do they? He asked. I watched my family retreat through the quantum-filtered corridors, their worldview shattered by the daughter they'd underestimated. No, I said, reviewing data that would soon make even today's breakthroughs seem primitive. They never will. They're still thinking in classical terms while we're quantum leaping into the future. The morning sun played through the quantum filters, casting strange shadows across the institute I'd built while they laughed at my basic research. The failed scientist hadn't just proved them wrong, she transcended their entire understanding of reality. And we were still just beginning to explore the quantum depths of existence itself.